Hello once again. Today we're going to take a look at a game for the PlayStation 2, and you might be thinking to yourself, the PlayStation 2 isn't very retro. Well, prepare yourself for a shock. The PlayStation 2 is now 15 years old. How old does that make you feel? I know it makes me feel pretty old, and I am. So anyway, even though it is classed as a retro system in my eyes, the games probably aren't generally considered to be a very retro style game. Lots of first person shooters, lots of 3D sort of open world action adventure type games. I won't be reviewing any of them. What I'm going to be reviewing mainly on the PS2 is a load of good old fashioned 2D shoot 'em ups, and that's what I'm going to look at today. It's XII Stag. So let's take a look at the fact file for this game. XII Stag was released on the PS2 in 2003. It's an arcade port. The arcade game originally released in 2002. This is a PAL region version of the game, although it was also available in Japan and probably the US as well. Published by Taito and developed by Triangle Service. Price I paid for it a number of years ago was £3, and the going rate on eBay currently somewhere between £5 to £10. Although if you're particularly lucky, you can find a copy for as little as £1. I have seen copies go fairly recently for that sort of money. So that's the stats about the game. Let's take a look at the packaging now, and then of course let's play the game itself. Hopefully you can hear me over the infernal racket of the PlayStation 2 fan. Here's the front cover of the game. It's got the XII Stag logo, it's got some spaceships blasting off, it's got some little diagrams of some of the other spaceships in the game, and it's also got this blurb: 12 times the fun and excitement. Memorize the enemy attack patterns, etc, etc, etc. You can get up to 12 times the normal score, go for the highest score possible, which would be a fairly straightforward way of playing the game. Spine is your typical PlayStation 2 spine, pretty nondescript with just the name of the game on it. And on the back we have 12 times the fun and excitement, master the score multiplication system, improve your strategy. It's got some screenshots of the first couple of levels there. Check out the new score wrap function and aim for a new high score. Score wrap function: the gap between the player's score and the current high score is displayed on a graph, giving the player the excitement of getting closer and closer to a new high score. I'm not sure it's that exciting, but there you go. And you can see the Taito logo there and various other logos on the back. So let's take a look at the manual. Quite nicely put together. Got sort of a lot of grey on it, but it's got the nice XII Stag logo again. First page is just how to set up your PS2, and we've got a couple of pages show you the sort of start screen for the game, the options, screen view as an overview of the playing area with all the score and lives and all that kind of thing on it. Nothing very exciting. There's no background story or anything for this game. It just tells you how to play. It doesn't tell you any kind of plot. The plot is basically shoot stuff. It's got the controls, and then it's got some details about different types of attacks. So you've got a shot, a side attack, backfire attack. These all get covered in the game as well, so I won't go into them in too much detail. Lots of colour and nice screenshots in the manual though. Got the barrier, items that you can pick up, score multiplication system, which again I'll cover when we play the game. Secret auto leveling of enemies. So if you're at a higher power up level, then the enemies are more difficult as well. And then at the back we've got the score wrap function, which was mentioned on the back. It basically tells you where you are in comparison to the current high score. You've got these checkpoints and this graph, which is very cleverly depicted there with two colour lines. And that's it, that's the manual. There's the back cover, which is also very grey. So here we have the title screen, pretty nondescript stuff, just a grey background with the XII Stag logo, the copyright information at the bottom. There are some options, but there's not a lot of point showing you them. Just the usual sort of stuff of choosing which buttons do which kind of firing, and also you can save and load the configuration, choose whether you want the monitor horizontal or vertical, which I'm not going to turn the monitor around to be vertical just to play this one game, so we'll leave it as it is. So off we go into the arcade mode, which is the only game mode. As you can see, it's got some copyright information, company logos, whatever you want to call it, and then on comes the attract mode screen, and it says there press start button to start. So that's what we'll do, and it gives you a little introduction as to how the different weapon modes work. So quickly show you those. We've got the barrier, which is kind of like a protective field that you can temporarily put around the ship. You can also, as it shows there, destroy ships by just letting them crash into the back of you, as long as they aren't too powerful. You have like an automatic rear firing thing, and you can do this thing where you move left to right to fire from the sides of the ship as well. That's what prompts the multiplier mode. Handily, there's a button on the controller that'll do that automatically, so it'll fire left and right quickly like that, or you can manually move the ship left and right to fire. So off we go with the first level, and I'm quickly going to go through and show what happens if you play the level just using the normal firing mode, which is the one I'm holding down at the moment. And then I'm going to go kill myself off and then play it through using the multiplier mode to show what a difference it makes in the score. You can see little bits there if you move left to right of the sideways firing. I'm not making a big deal of that. And that's pretty much the end of the first level. That's the warning for the end of the level boss, which is not that challenging. Just to fire, blow the things off the sides. That's the barrier. I'll just show you what that does. That's the barrier there. You can see none of the bullets go inside it. This guy's not too difficult to get rid of. Firing a few bullets around. Generally, he's not too difficult. And there you go, he's dead. And at the end of the stage, you then get a breakdown of how you've done so far. So it tells you the records for various checkpoints. And at the bottom there is a graph showing how you've done compared to the current top score, and then it goes on to the second stage. So I'm just going to quickly kill myself off by crashing into these things. Okay, so that was a quick demo of the first level with the not very good way of scoring. So I got 68,000 pretty much just playing the first level and then killing myself off on the second one. So now let's go again, and this time I'm going to use the sideways firing to show the multiplier. As I said, you can wiggle backwards and forwards, left and right, sorry, to do this, but it's much easier just to use the rapid fire option to do it. As you can see, everything's now on a 12 times multiplier. And I've already got more than my previous score, and you can even take the end of level bosses out with the sideways thing as well if you're careful. Although for the most part I'll probably just use the normal bullets to do that. Taking me a bit more time this time for some reason. Probably because in the quest for multipliers you don't actually take it out as quickly, I guess. But there you go, that's the level completed. Now this time I've got 129,000 points, and what you'll see on the graph at the bottom is, compared to the previous time, my new score is a lot higher, and I've got a new record on both checkpoints on the first stage. So now we'll move on to the second stage. Which again you can use the sideways shooting for, certainly in the early stages of the level. These big badass guys are actually going to be wiped off with two of those sideways shots really easily. This bit's a little bit more tricky. You've got to watch them flying down the screen. And this guy is definitely not one to be trying to use the sideways shot, although I got rid of him quite quickly there. And I got some coming up from behind you, so again you've got to be careful they don't crash into you, but it's not too difficult. First couple of stages are pretty easy. So far it's pretty generic stuff, not quite nice graphics, but nothing very exciting with the enemies, just various big spaceships, small spaceships and so on. Use a barrier there to make sure I don't lose a life. And there we go, I'm going towards the end of the second stage now. And the bullets start to fly a little bit more now. You get at least 3 barriers, unless you pick more, you get 3 barriers per life, so there's no point trying to save them for later in the game and then at the cost of losing a life. Now this guy, he will start throwing some quite nasty bullets at you, but then he kind of does this spiral thing, and if you position yourself in the right place, you can actually sit next to him and blast him with the sideways shot, which gets rid of him a lot more quickly. Be careful when he's doing these things. Oh, it's annoying, lost a life there. Thought I was going to manage to do the first 2 stages without losing a life. And there you go, that's got rid of him as well. So after 2 stages, nothing too challenging so far. 2 sky-based levels. And all pretty generic stuff, and pretty nice music, sound effects are alright, graphics are quite cool, but nothing too spectacular. So now comes another generic kind of level where there's a lot of tanks on the ground. Again, pretty familiar stuff for the most part so far. The bullets start to fly a little bit more. The thing about this level, I think, is the music is... oh, there goes a life. The music's really like unshootery, it's not very dramatic or tense at all, it's kind of a jolly thing, and there goes my first credit. You can see that the difficulty's starting to ramp up a little bit now, and the opportunities to use those sideways shots are kind of diminishing, and there goes another life. I'm not doing a very good job here at the moment. But the one thing that you're going to find as I progress through this game is you basically got unlimited continues, which renders the game pretty pointless when you can just carry on as much as you like. And really I'm making a balls up at this level, but it doesn't really matter because I've got unlimited continues, so I'll just carry on through to the end of it. So again, it's pretty generic city based level this time, with lots of tanks moving around, most of which you can pick off with a sideways shot as long as you're careful. Yeah, so some peculiar music on this one, I feel, on this level. And here we come to the end of the next stage, and yes, it's another generic end of level boss. It's a giant tank, which spews out a lot of bullets, and the barriers are definitely required here. But if you sit yourself in the right place, you can polish off some of the elements of this thing quite quickly, which helps. You see it's firing a lot of stuff downwards, but actually most of the stuff if I sit at the top is quite easy to avoid. It's not the most challenging boss if you sit in the right part of the screen, although there goes my last life. You can see when he gets a chance he does spew out quite a lot of bullets. And that's it, he's basically done for now. Didn't take too long to get rid of him. And there he goes with a big explosion. And on we go to the next stage. And it's another sky based level, lots of small enemies at the start of this one. Largely boring so far. The small enemies are actually the more dangerous ones on this level, because they they spew out little bullets towards you quite quickly, and because they keep materialising, you have to keep your eye out on them. Oh yeah, I lost another life there without even noticing. Well, as you can see, thus far in this level again, it's not too challenging. And what's about to appear is another staple of the arcade shoot 'em up, the giant mothership, gradually appearing from the bottom of the screen there. Spewing out molten death from various orifices, most of which aren't that aren't that difficult to get rid of. Again, what you really got to look out for is the enemies that materialise at the top of the screen, or even they're not quite very apparent at the moment. Oh, that's a bit more tricky. Just use a barrier there, get rid of all that stuff. So I think I wiped out pretty much all of that shit there. And again, it's all rather generic stuff with nothing very challenging or interesting so far. Plenty of points to be had on that stage though. And there ends another one. And yes, now we've got another overland flying stage with lots of things to shoot with the sideways things. Oh, I've lost a life there somewhere. But to be honest, I don't really care because I've got unlimited continues, so it doesn't really matter. And it's actually reusing the music from the third level again now. You can see the bullets are ramping up on this stage, but yeah, already it's reusing tunes from earlier stages. I'm not lasting very long on this at all, and it's all rather dull, so I'm going to pause the video for a little bit and come back when something more interesting is going on. I'm now midway through level 6, I think, and not much has changed. It's a military based level, and lots of flying helicopters, missile turrets, and other largely boring stuff, which has already been seen in things like Fire Shark probably 15 years before this game. There's a very big base here, just churning out a load of bullets at me. This isn't the end of level boss, but it surely isn't skimping on the bullets here. I don't know what number life I'm on, it's probably a lot. Quite useful, you can just sit in between that there. I mentioned that the hitbox on the ship is quite small, it's just the cockpit I think, so that probably explains why it's reasonably easy to dodge the bullets for the most part until they get really ridiculous. So this is the end of level boss for level 6. Kind of a big walking hand, or maybe like a spider. Oh, that was the easiest bullets to get rid of, you would have thought, to avoid. Now it's getting a little bit more tricky with the bullets. Yeah, there goes another life. But with a new credit comes more barriers. Lots and lots of bullets here. This is the problem with the game basically, is it goes from being relatively straightforward to borderline ridiculous. I guess you just have to learn the bullet patterns, but because you've got unlimited credits it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's no way of avoiding that lot, surely. There goes another credit. May as well just sit yourself right in the turret. Is that it? No, there's something else now. And on it goes, spraying bullets in a lot of different ways. Sometimes multiples at the same time. I'm doing quite well to dodge some of them there. It's all for nothing though. Just sit here and see what else I can get rid of. Go on, just die, you horrible thing. There we go, it's gone now. So there goes the big crawly, tentacly, walky thing. And away we go to the next level. Which, as you can probably guess, is more of the same. I am going to play it through to completion. So this is the penultimate level, and things really start to get silly with the bullets now, if they weren't already silly enough. And just to make matters worse, on this stage, at least you get something different, sort of a futuristic style spaceship stage, and suddenly you're getting, it's almost like a mixture of a shoot 'em up and asteroids. There's lots of asteroids fly towards you, bits of rock fly towards you that you've got to avoid, as well as all the other stuff. So at least it adds something a little bit different at this point, and it's about time, to be perfectly honest. But ultimately it's just more of the same, scrolling up the screen, shooting, trying to avoid bullets, and trying to avoid getting shot, which I'm not doing a very good job of. Pretty bland music again for the most part, at least it's a bit more tense than the jolly tunes that have been reused on several of the other stages. Chance to rack up a few multiplayers, which you borderline forget. And then comes a mid-level boss spewing a lot of stuff at you, which is a borderline impossible to avoid, as you've seen there. You just kind of drift past this, so if you can avoid the bullets, which I'm not doing a very good job of, then I guess you can avoid it for the most part. But no, I'm proving to be pretty terrible at this game, but I don't really care. You probably guessed I won't be keeping this one. So here's the end of level boss for this one, which is one of the strangest bosses. This is the second to last end level, and for the most part you can just sit next to it and do this. It is obviously going to start spewing stuff out. There we go. I've already got rid of its outer shell. Generally speaking, oh no, generally speaking, the bullets it's throwing out aren't that bad. Or maybe I was wrong. Okay, now it does this. How on earth do you avoid all these? It's not just avoiding them, but how are you going to get close to him to actually shoot him? So again, it's just hit the barrier, try and shoot him as much as possible before you get hit. And he's dead now, I believe. And so we move on to the final level. Are you still with me? And this is very colourful and red because it seems you're inside some kind of a creature now, as you'll see when we reach the end of it. But you've got these little things, at least you can say this level is different to all the others. You've got these little blobby things coming towards you, some kind of antibodies or something, giving you a chance to rack up the big multiplier. I wonder why they chose 12. Why stop at 12? Why not make it 25 stag? Bit of a slow moving level, and then you've got these things which kind of explode, sort of big cellular masses, and then things start firing loads of bullets out at you, of course. At this point it's not actually that difficult. I'm sure that will change. Definitely a chance to rack up a load of points. Can't help feeling I'm going to need those barriers. Okay, so here we come to the last boss. The last level is a bit of an anticlimax really, because even the boss isn't that difficult. I mean, I've got unlimited continues, which is always helpful, but basically the boss is a set of lungs, and it fires out these weird sort of permutations, but it's not that difficult, I don't think. He says he loses a life. It's a shame because I have a load of barriers stacked up there. It would have been really useful to keep hold of. This bit looks a bit challenging. No, even that's not too bad. This bit, okay, that's challenging. But again, you just use a barrier, sit yourself in the middle, and hope for the best. For a final level boss, it isn't that difficult, although that was impossible to avoid. This bit looks tricky. It's just hammering with a few... there we go, that's it, basically he's dead now. And that's it, that's the game. What can I say? Pretty naff. With all the imaginative shooters that were coming out from companies like Cave, for example, this one pretty much pales in comparison to those. And that's it, basically you're up to the end credits, which I don't care about. And look, I got a top score, unsurprisingly. So that's it, that's the game. Definitely not worth keeping. I'm pretty sure there's significantly better bullet hell shooters on the PS2, and I have no further desire to play this game anymore. The thing that really lets it down is pretty bland level design and pretty bland enemies and all that kind of thing. But the real big problem with it is unlimited continues means you've got no incentive to try and improve your gameplay or improve your score, because you can just play it through beginning to the end on the very first go. So that's that, and that one will definitely be on eBay for sale at some point in the future.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.